Buddy, welcome to another fantastic episode of Distilled, Brewed, and Reviewed. My name is John, and on this channel I do everything that has anything to do with alcohol and anything that has anything to do with coffee. I am a one-stop shop for alcohol and coffee. Basically, I'm a mega mall for alcohol and coffee too. What do I mean by that? Much like being at the mall, you can find everything on this channel. Instead of going from channel to channel, i.e. store to store, you're right here. Now, how do you do that? Well, I put together the most extensive, easy to navigate, categorized and subcategorized playlists on YouTube, and everything is so broken down and so beautiful. The playlist, the first comment of every video is always pinned because it has a link to the playlist of the beverage I'm doing, and in this case, it is bourbon. This is an interesting one today, very, very interesting. The Burning Chair, bourbon whiskey. Check this out. Now, what this is, okay, this is Orange Swift Winery and Dave Phinney, who owns the winery, the master winemaker. He wanted to do something with bourbon. He's known for his wines, right? He's very famous for wines. These are some of his wines. Right? These are just some of his wines. And matter of fact, he did The Prisoner, and then he couldn't do a wine kind of heavy Zinfandel like that for 8 years as a after he sold it, non-competition, thing that he signed. So when he had to wait 8 years, he finally came out with this, and he killed it, of course, 8 years in the desert, because he felt like it was a desert for 8 years. He couldn't, do his thing. Excuse me 1 second, let me get a glass. I'm just gonna use this. It's gonna be a crazy bourbon glass, but this is what I'm using, all right? So, what he wanted to do, he wanted to get into the bourbons. Now, he don't make bourbon. So what he did, he sourced bourbon from Indiana, probably MGP. Kentucky, probably Barton. And Tennessee, probably George Dickel. Then he took it back to California and he finished it in his famous wine barrels. He put 40% in his Zinfandel, 40% in his Cab, and 20% in his Grenache. And then, as he does that only he can do, he blended it. And he came out with this iconic first release bourbon. Now, what's cool about it, check out the top. It's actually glass. So, let's get into this kind of cool, unique bourbon. I know, it's not the best glass, but it's gonna work. I mean, it's not a bad glass. All right, so there's the color. I don't know the age on it. It doesn't say straight, and it doesn't say anything. So, I'm not sure. So the usual suspects as far as the sweetness goes. Now you have some maple syrup, kiss of brown sugar, but that wine is very evident on here. And if you're a wine person, if you like Angel's Envy or Barton 1792 puts out something called Black Ridge Port Barrel Finished, you're gonna love this. So it's got all three of those wines. It's the only one I know of that has three wines from a famous winemaker. Very interesting. And that wine fluence is so, I wouldn't say it's so strong, it's a little above subtle. It's not crazy, it's bourbon first, but you could definitely detect the wine. Beautiful caramel, sugary sweetness, with that beautiful fruit of that wine. And the complexity, there's just a lot going on in here. When you figure 3 different types of wine that it was finished in. .88 proof, 60 something, under $70. It's really good. The sweetness is nice. But that influence of that wine, I'm not saying you pick out Cabernet and Zinfandel and all that. Zinfandel's sweet and jammy, and that definitely is adding influence to an already sweet product. I'll tell you, man, this is one you just put in your glass, sit back, put on a good movie or whatever, and just enjoy and sip. It's easy to sip. It's flavorful. It's fun to pick out because there's a lot of stuff going on with that wine. There's the fruit of that wine. There's the sweetness of that wine. And that's not sweet wine, but that Zinfandel, that jammy raisin dried fruit that I'm getting from that wine, blending with that bourbon, very good. It actually is pretty good. The Burning Chair Bourbon Whiskey, 44% ABV. Yeah, anyway, what do you think? He's known for his iconic labels, of course. I mean, these are some cool, if you didn't get to see him, these are some cool labels that he does. So, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the playlist, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, everybody.